So our last video here is just about finding angles and working with angles in different geometric shapes and geometric problems. So a couple of things to note is just it's a bunch of memorizing of a few key things. The first one is that when we're working with polygons, that means any enclosed shape. It's a sum of the angles inside being 180 in a triangle or 360 in a square or rectangle. However, in general, what we have is that the number of sides minus 2 times 180 is how many, what the total degrees is when you sum up those angles. So 180, and we have 3 sides, so 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 times 180, 4 minus 2 is 2, 180 times 2 is 360, and so it moves on, so on and so forth. When we're looking at triangles as well, there's a couple key triangles to make note of. The equilateral triangle, where all 3 sides are equal. If you have 3 sides that are equal, denoted by the little tickies, remember the tickies mean that the sides are the same length. So if you have 3 sides that are equal in length, then you have 3 angles that are all equal, and in this case they have to be 60 because 180 divided by 3 would be 60. In an isosceles triangle, that's when we have 2 sides that are the same, then we'll have the 2 angles being the same. So at the ends of those 2 sides, those 2 angles will always be the same size. That does not limit them to any specific size. It depends on how big the third angle is. Remember, just like in our Pythagorean theorem, in right triangles, that little square in the corner means that something is 90 degrees. A straight line is measured as 180 degrees. So when you're given a situation where you have a straight line and a line cutting through it and you want to find the angles in here, these 2 angles, x and y, should equal 180. Also, when you're working with parallel lines, and I should note, parallel lines are noted with the double or single arrows like that to show that they're parallel, running side by side, meaning they never touch. If you have a line cutting across 2 parallel lines, the Z pattern, here you can kind of see a Z forming here. This Z pattern is going to give us in the little crook of the Z that both of these angles are equal to each other. So that and that are both the same. In the case of the next one here, we have this F pattern. So inside the F right here, those 2 angles, X and Y, are going to be the same, are going to add up to 180. So if they're inside the angle here and inside the F, then they add up to 180. If they're in the crook of the Z, then they are the same. And then finally, just the opposite angles. If angles are across from each other like this in this X pattern, those opposite angles are the same. So these 2 angles are the same, these 2 angles are the same. So all those different concepts can be applied when solving some of the geometry problems that come up.